Hi, welcome to the episode of Utah Crossbow Hunter. For today is going to be Crossbow Forum Day. But before we get into that, hit that subscribe button down below. Hit that all button. Hit that share button with your family, friends, and your worst enemy. And leave me a comment. And of course, leave these videos a thumbs up so we can destroy the YouTube algorithms on stuff like this because they don't really like it. But what the heck? We're doing it anyways. Okay, so today's show, we're going to talk about another question, and it is, I'm new to crossbows. What kind of crossbow should I get? That's a really good question. But there's a lot of crossbows out there. Various price ranges. Upper end, lower end. Lower. Yeah. Okay, there we go. So we're just going to kind of touch on that a little bit. Because that's the question that comes. Let's see, where are we at here? Right over here. Any recommendations for a first crossbow for a 38-year-old newbie? And what kind of got me is one of the answers that he got was, check the mini vertical crossbow out. I don't know so much about that. It is a nice crossbow, there's no doubt about it. But for a new person, yes and no. Okay. I don't have that much experience. Actually, I have none with the vertical crossbows except what I see. They look nice. They shoot nice. But that's not my forte. No. So, what kind of crossbow should I get? First of all, look at your budget. What kind of budget do you have? Do you have a low-end budget, middle budget, high-end budget? It's all going to depend on your budget. Don't break your bank to get an expensive crossbow, okay? There's all sorts of crossbows out there that'll work just fine. So, for me, this is an example that I'm going to show you here. I have a crossbow similar to this one right here. My very first crossbow. Recurve crossbow. It was a 175-pound pull. So that was my very first crossbow, 16-inch arrows. That was my first experience with a crossbow. I went through a huge learning curve. Okay? When I say huge, I had to learn arrows, fletchings, broadheads, scopes. So I had to learn all of that. So I spent a lot of time before I made my very first video doing a lot of stuff, doing a lot of research. There's a lot of great videos out there on crossbows. Wicked Ridge, 10 Point, Raven, PSE, Center Point, Killer Instinct, and so on and so forth. There's a lot. Okay. I have myself, like I said, that little cheap one. I have the Pile Driver 390. I have a Killer Instinct 415, 425, something like that. I have the Center Point Patriot 415. Yeah. And the Wicked Ridge NXT 400. Another thing you want to look at, do you want a rope cocker or do you want a crank? Okay. What kind, and if you want a crank, what type of crank do you want? Do you want a silent crank? Do you want a clicky noise crank? My NXT is a clicky noise crank. I wish it was a quiet crank, but it's not. And do you want a And how do you want to decock your crossbow? Do you want to use the rope decocker to decock it with your rope? Do you want to shoot it into a target? Do you want to use the crank to decock? So you have to think about that. Do you have any type of injury? When I say type of injury, arm injury, shoulder injury, back injury, okay? Decocking, the rope cocking crossbow may not be for you. You may need the crank crossbow. So the crank crossbows are a little more expensive than your middle of the market crossbows that have the rope cockers. I have 3 rope cockers and 1 crank. But with my crank, I have to decock it by shooting it into a target, or use a decocker type arrow. So you have to take a lot of that into consideration when you do that. So let's jump on over here to Amazon. And my mouse, oh, there it goes. Okay, so let's go over here. So this is where you can start. You can start your research here by looking at different crossbows. Because another thing you want to look at too is how fast do you want your crossbow to be, for kinetic energy and stuff. So how fast do you want your crossbow? Are you going to be shooting short range? Again, as a crossbow hunter, you should think about the 40-yard marker, not the 50, not the 60-yard marker, the 40-yard marker. Okay, and how quiet too is your crossbow. So let's go back over here, and you can see all these crossbows like PSEs. They're really, really nice. The mini striker, I would stay away from that one, just because you got to also remember the regulations in your state. Okay, when I say the regulation in your state, some may say you got to have a minimum of 80-pound draw, minimum of 120-pound draw, or whatever. So make sure you check those first before you start looking at crossbows. That will be a tall tale of where you need to go. I mean, there's some here that are knockoffs that I wouldn't recommend it really a knockoff, but if you want to do a knockoff, that's up to you. You got this Rocky Mountain 405. You got the Killer Instinct. Killer Instinct is a good one. Barnett's a good one. That's a PSC. Axe crossbows are good. But again, this just depends on what you want. I got one of these. They're nice. Bear X. So let's see if we can find. Okay, here's a Wicked Ridge, middle of the line. Good crossbow. And another thing you want to think about, do you want a reverse draw or a conventional draw? I say conventional, it's like this here. Okay, it's got the triangle. Let's see if we can find here. But these, you might, again, this is just, I'm just giving you guys examples here of where to go. Wow. That was pretty interesting. These, again, the cheaper crossbows like this, they're great to learn on. You can learn a lot. You can learn how to redo your strings, set your crossbow up, learn about arrows. The only thing that would be a little expensive to get is the arrows, but the thing about it, 16-inch arrows are kind of hard to find, but you got to be real careful on those. So you got a lot. There's a ton of crossbows out there, and let's see here. Let's see if we can find some other stuff here. Okay, you got the 10-point Havoc RS440. It's a reverse draw. but you can see the price on that. The Wicked Ridge M370, another good one, 370 feet per second. The Barnett Hyper crossbow package. Let's see. Well, again, there's just so much that you can look at for a crossbow. You can spend days, literally. It's no problem with that. Taking days to look at different crossbows, looking at videos on them, which is a great way to get your information. If you have a local bow shop, go down and shoot a variety of crossbows. See which ones you like. Okay, I mean, they may have 10 points. They may have center points. They may have PSEs. They may have different types of crossbows, different poundage, different speeds, different lengths. So again, it's going to be your preference on what you need or want. You know, and it's the same thing with scopes. You can spend a ton of money on scopes. I know, I have. A ton of money on arrows. I know, I have. And I know that stuff's expensive. But over time, I've done that to where I got my current setup where I have the NXT 400 from Wicked Ridge. I'm shooting at 373 with 531 grain arrows with a Vortex CROSSFIRE 2, 7 by 2 by 32. The crossbow kit from Vortex. I have ATN scope, rangefinder for that. So yeah, you can spend. Let me just give you an example here. This setup right here, the ATN, this one, what was this? I forget off the top of my head. Excite 4K, which has video capability. It's heavy. It's a 5x20X. I have the rangefinder that goes on here. So between the rangefinder, the scope, and the remote for it, it sent me back about $1,000. So you can get a scope more expensive than your crossbow. I have back here, I have the Vortex on my scope here. I have the TACTACAM FTS. Just we shoot and see it's FTS. What does that stand for? But it shoots through the scope with the TACTACAM 5.0 and the TACTACAM 6.0. So depending on what you want to do, depending on how much money you want to spend, but again, I would recommend going down to your local range if they have it, and then trying different things. That'd be your best bet. Asking people for recommendations, that's fantastic. But you're going to get, I'm really stuck on this. I'm really stuck on that. Stuck on this, you know. I'm not. Like I said, I have the center point. I have the pile driver. I have the Wicked Ridge and the center point. So I have multiple different crossbows that I've tested and I've worked with throughout time. So yeah, that's pretty much all I got for you right now. Again, take your time on what kind of crossbow that you want to get in your budget. Because don't let anybody tell you, you got to go out, you got to get the 10.505, and you got to get it with this particular scope on it's been, you know, $4,000 on it, just to find out you don't like it. Okay, so that's why I recommend if you got a crossbow shop that has crossbows in there that you can shoot and has the range, I highly recommend that you're doing it. And a good place to go for that probably, because they have multiple crossbows, you might be able to try, is either Bass Pro Shops or Cabela's. I know they have a wide variety of crossbows, and I think they'll let you shoot them. I'm not positive, don't take my word on it, but always try and check out stuff. Okay, so leave me any comments below that you think are important. Also, like, hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe button for more videos that are coming out. I'm trying to put out crossbow forums and stuff at least once a week on Mondays. I think it's Mondays. Yeah, on Mondays. Because I go through multiple different forums, and I try to find the most common or a good question to answer. Alrighty. So that said, remember, family first. Take care of your family. By all means, get out there and hunt. And remember, these episodes are dedicated to my son. And thank you for watching, and have a great day.